Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start off first with a roll call. Bob? Here. Donna? Here. Melvin? Here. Sebastian? Here. Nick?
Here.
And Laverne's away today. And myself, Dale Smith. Are there any members on the committee that has a conflict of interest with any applications today? Seeing none, we will call the first application.
Sorry. Through you, Mr. Chair, the first application is a tabled application. It is a minor variance A-25:009, 13 Ravenna Court, Ancaster. Is there any members of the public who have comments related to this application? I don't believe I see any. That's the case. Is the applicant or the agent here? You could step up, please.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
Apologies. If you could provide your name and your address, please.
Yes, of course. My name is Tom Doyle. I'm the owner of 13 Ravenna Court in Ancaster, Ontario.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions? This was tabled from the last meeting. Bob?
I think last meeting we tabled it to ensure that the staff had all the information to make a recommendation on this one. You got all the information in? You're happy? Okay.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it with the conditions and notes.
Okay, moved by Robert, seconded by Mel. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next application, we're going to the next application is minor variance application A dash. Oh, sorry. Yes. We'll wait till 1:15. Sorry. Okay. So through the chair, our next application is minor variance application A-25 colon 021-1791 King Street East, Hamilton. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this application?
I do. I had signed up to speak.
Okay. Can you provide your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Alex. I live at 215 Garside Avenue South.
Sorry, was it Alex Wesley?
Yes,
Alex Wesley. 150, sorry. What was your address again?
215 Garside Avenue South.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Alex. I live on Garside Avenue South, which is behind the apartment building we were discussing. The issues that I have with this change is the parking. We already have a parking issue on our street due to the visitors to this apartment building. On our street block, we only have 7 parking spaces available at all times. They are currently almost always taken up by people either visiting or living at this apartment building. If we only have 7 street parking spaces available, it doesn't make sense to completely remove the visitor spots at the apartment when we don't even have enough street parking space to cover those new units being built at the building, which is 8, let alone the people who own houses on the street who can't park there, as well as any visitors to this apartment building. If we were to look at an overview of this area with parking spaces, you would see that this is not a good idea and just won't work in general. The other side of our street has no parking allowed between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. If people do park on the other side of the street as well as our side, it ends up being quite a narrow driving space, as well as almost impossible for us to pull out of our driveway. Since the apartment building's address is King Street, which is the main road in Hamilton, nobody can park on it. So our street is where all the excess cars and congestion will be. I would also like to point out that there is currently plans for a 1,341 unit apartment complex to be built right across the street from this apartment building in question. By not having any visitor spaces at the apartment building, it'll cause further serious parking issues on our street, more of which we already have. But add in the extra 8 apartment units they want to build with people with their potential extra cars and visitors, that increases the parking issues even further.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I'm just wondering if someone from the planning department could comment on the parking issues.
Through the chair, when we reviewed the application, the parking spaces are bringing it more in conformity with the comprehensive zoning bylaw being 05200, as the lands are in 6593. The parking requirements are different, so the proposal is to bring it more in line with the parent bylaw. Thank you.
Okay. So in the bylaw that's present, that what they're wanting to do is allowable. And I understand what your issue is with the parking, and all over Hamilton is an issue with parking as well. Did the committee want to comment at all on that, or no? Okay. Was there anyone else from the public?
Through the chair, no, we didn't have any other interested parties who had registered. Just checking, was there anyone else here? Council Chambers who wanted to speak? No, I don't believe we do. If you wanted, we could ask the applicant or agent to step forward. Are they here?
Okay, is the applicant here?
The agent is Ken Benkindan. Sorry, I may be mispronouncing your name. Yeah. Your name and your address, please.
Ken Beekendam, and I'm the agent for the application. My address is 160 White Swan Road in Brantford. And yeah, before the committee, we have another great project in the city where we're adding some gentle density to an existing apartment building by just converting some unused space within the building, and we're able to add another 8 units, which is great to see. I agree with staff that if this property was in the new Hamilton zoning bylaw, we would not be here at committee today. And it's right on the main road. There's lots of transportation and transit on the main road, and this is a great, easy way of getting some much-needed additional units. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions? Is there a motion? Sebastian?
I'm motioning to approve as amended with the proposed condition included.
Okay, motion made by Sebastian. Is there a seconder? Robert, all in favor? Opposed? One opposed? Nick, you're in favor or opposed? In favor? Okay. Motion carried. Application approved.
Great, thank you.
And then the next application was, it's a consent application, B-25:01122 East 22nd Street, Hamilton. However, the applicant has requested to table the application. And I don't believe they're in attendance today, but yes, they did request to table the application. There's just some additional issues they need to address. And we'll wait till 1:25 to hear the next application. Okay, Our next application is a minor variance A-25:032, 96 8th Road East, Stony Creek. Is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application?
Jason Petty, Lionize Contracting.
Are you the, no, you're the agent, I believe, yeah. No,
Yeah.
we're asking if there's any members of the public,
Sorry.
whether on the WebEx platform or here in council chambers? Okay, I don't believe so. Okay, then we'll go to the agent then. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Jason Petty, 40 Vesper Court, Stony Creek, Ontario, L8J 2B5.
40 Esper, okay.
Vesper, V as in Victor, ESPER.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And you saw the comments for, from planning denial?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Well, Source Protection Planning denied it. If it was approved, they would like a hydrogeological study to be performed. The three criteria pertaining to that study was surrounding groundwater contamination, source water contamination, and the inability to schedule a septic system within the parameters set out in the building code in Schedule 8. But
So I think that condition was if it was passed by this committee.
Right.
Some of the problems here are the size of the lot and putting it in the front yard, which isn't allowable.
right. Front yard build in this application is the only feasible option, as side yard is not big enough to keep away from property lines and existing dwelling. And rear yard doesn't work because there is an existing septic field in the backyard of the property for the main dwelling. That's why it was proposed to be built in the front yard, and that's why we applied for a minor variance. Knowing we didn't meet those criteria, the minor variance was the application for the application.
Okay, and the size?
The size, well, it fits. JD Barnes did a site survey, a legal site survey, and it does fit under the criteria of percentages of building surface area on the property. It doesn't exceed any of those parameters. It fits within the guidelines as far as setbacks from property line. The actual footprint of the house is not that large. It's not a large dwelling. The actual footprint size is relatively small. I know some of the comments in the notes were from the planning was they talk more about prime agricultural land, but this isn't an operational farm. It's actually a residential property, and we're not taking away from any prime agricultural. The aesthetics of the home has basically been designed to try and accommodate the existing dwelling in its finish details. And then with the property existing now, there's actually mature tree development around the entire perimeter of the property. So the visual from the street is, it's not that open out there. It would be not much different than somebody building a large garage on their property.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the committee. Committee, have any questions?
Yeah, I visit the property, and I presume that the stakes you had out there is out where the front, the building's going to be in the front yard.
Yes, sir.
It's not very big, and I understand that the building is for their parents to come and live with them.
That's right.
They mentioned about the septic. Have you had anything to do, because I don't think you can hook up to the septic in the backyard. What would be your plan there?
Well, being a certified septic installer, my remedy to the problem in whole would be to eliminate the existing system and apply permit for a new system, either a Norweco system or a Waterloo biofilter system. And those systems are advanced, and Norweco, as I am aware, is probably the best system in the world for water treatment. So the nitrate levels and all of the exhaust water or treated water that is exiting that tank before it even goes to field, the nitrate levels and those types of things are drastically reduced. And we would propose that we would change that system to accommodate dealing with a smaller footprint and a better system, obviously, to deal with the septic system that's better than what's there now. And then with a new build, if it is approved, we would just pump from a pump chamber to the septic tank of the main residence, ensuring that that tank is obviously big enough to handle all capacity. The other note I would like to make is it was talking about source water contamination, but both houses, both dwellings are actually would be and are on cistern well. There's no dug well and there's no drill well on property. And the cisterns are the only source of their water that they have. But I could propose to council, obviously the package what that new septic system would look like to alleviate the potential of any concerns in that area.
That's kind of what I want you to explain to it. I know that I looked at the size of you had draw it out there on the lawn. That's probably not any bigger than a garage and a half, as far as I could see, but it's not very big, so.
Right.
Okay, is there anyone else with questions? Robert?
So what you're saying is then is to build the accessory dwelling unit in the backyard once the septic system is altered, and then both buildings would feed the new proposed septic tank and field, correct?
My proposal would be to try and remain with the property, build the secondary dwelling used to contamination, groundwater, all of those elements, and installing a new septic field and a new tank for the primary residence in their backyard, and then pumping from the front dwelling unit, the additional dwelling unit in the front to the tank in the back.
Well, as the comment said, you get two issues at hand: the size of the proposed, or to have the accessory dwelling in the front, which is not allowed, and then the septic system for it. I don't know. I know your idea of the new style septic bed would be muchly improved than what's probably there. However, you still have the problem of the ADU in the front yard.
I understand that we potentially, council sees that as a problem, but I mean, I'm not sure if we're allowed to propose this and ask for a minor variance with regards to some of the parameters that it doesn't meet. I'm just not understanding why we apply for a minor variance if it's a hard no. I mean, in town we're allowed, it's almost in town we're allowed to do a lot more in a smaller area than we are in a rural setting in this application. And that's why we filed for a minor variance, knowing that we didn't meet all of the criteria.
Robert? Okay.
I
Sebastian?
have a question for city staff. So I'm reading through the comments. Like I understand, how some of these variances that are asking for is non-conforming. It's not what we would normally do. But I guess my question is, like, when we do have these kind of rules in place, and obviously these kind of like outlines of what we can do and what we can't do. Obviously, this is a slightly different situation with it being in a rural area. There's a bit more space, like there's obviously farms around it. What risk are we trying to avoid? And I guess that would be my question, essentially. If this went in, what would happen? What are we trying to protect here? And then what risks are we trying to avoid by not allowing these variances? And hopefully that'll help me understand the situation a bit better.
So that question is to planning.
Good afternoon, Spencer Skidmore, Area Planning Manager. So in terms of the lot size, that's the one that planning staff really had a concern with. And that is a result of some of the consultation we had with source water planning staff when developing the detached ADU regulations and requirements. So that 1.5 meters, is a lot size that's enshrined right in our official plan. And our zoning bylaw has to conform to our official plan. And there are policies that say if you want to go below that 1.5, we can consider it, but you have to submit a hydrogeological report prepared by a qualified professional demonstrating that there's not going to be your nitrate infiltration at the property line is going to be appropriate, that you have locations for a reserve bed should your primary bed fail in the future, and that there's going to be no impacts to public health and safety, not just with wells on site, but with kind of wells and water systems on surrounding properties too. So that's one of the criteria. And in staff's opinion, to go ahead and approve, an application subject to a condition that may not be able to be cleared because they might not be able to get a supportive hydrogeological report, it would be staff's recommendation that work be done upfront prior to any decision being made. And that way we at least know whether, from a feasibility perspective, our source water protection folks will have a look at the report once it's complete, and they can say whether they would support their reduction from the 1.5 to the 0.4 or not. And I believe that is in source water protection's comments that the applicant does have that option to provide that professional report supporting the proposed reduction in lot size. So hopefully that clarifies kind of the genesis of the regulation and then the process for reducing that. Thank you.
So it just sounds to me like there's some missing information before we can even come to a decision. So in my opinion, I would look to potentially table this so they can sort it out at this point. But I guess I'll file a motion to table this for a future hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table by Sebastian, seconded by Nick. All in favor of tabling the motion? Opposed? Seeing none, the application is tabled till a later date. So to the applicant, to get more information on this, if you want to, my guessing is that if you want to follow through with the source water protection and get that document in place. Okay?
Yeah, we can do that. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing adjourned.
Okay, so the next application was a minor variance A-25:026-505 Glover Road, Stony Creek. However, the applicant or the agent has requested to table the application. They're going to have further discussions with staff. So we will move to the next application. Is a minor variance A-25:020 70 Lakeview Drive, Stony Creek. And are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application?
Yes, David Brendan here.
Yes. Did you want to step up to the podium, please?
Sorry, I'm on a call. Hi, good morning. I live on 69 Lakeview Drive, exactly.
Can you provide your name and address, please?
Oh, my name is Rolly Pogerson. and I live in 69 Lakeview Drive. I had actually written a letter, but they said it came too late, so they asked that I come here. So if you permit me to just read, if that's okay. Well, my concern is the lack of sufficient on-site parking for this.
If you can pull the microphone down just a little bit.
Sorry, thank you. Well, I said that the lack of sufficient on-site parking space for this project could lead to residents parking on the street, potentially causing significant congestion on an already narrow street without a sidewalk. This, in turn, raises serious safety risk for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers navigating our neighborhood. The increased street parking may also diminish the overall accessibility and functionality of the roadway for all users. If you know the area, first of all, this lot is very narrow, and the project is a triplex, a 3-family unit to be built on that, and the whole neighborhood doesn't have a triplex on not a triplex at all, not to talk about such a narrow lot building a triplex. So really the concern is parking. I assume that a family of 3 will be living in the property, and if a family has 2 cars, then I don't see where parking is provided for in the property. So the fallback is going to be on the street. And I live exactly opposite, and there are neighbors at the side. Right now, the street feeds cyclists. Cyclists use that street, not Service Road and Fruitland, all merge on that narrow corner. And plus there's a big, apartment building just at the corner. As it is today, the road is very congested. You only need to come there at specific times, school time, or even mornings when people are going to work, to see that permitting a triplex on such a narrow lot is going to further exacerbate the traffic situation in the area. That's my concern.
Okay. We'll get the applicant to...
Sorry, through the chair, I apologize. We do have a list here of interested parties. I apologize, I didn't go through it initially. I'm just going to go through it now. We actually have transportation planning. Bart Brosseau is here. He wanted to make some, I think he wanted to provide some comments in relation to the application first.
Hi. I was just concerned with how wide of a driveway opening it is onto the road. It does will affect if there's a sidewalk in the future. The pedestrians will have to cross a very wide driveway in order to walk along that street. So our allowed maximum width of a driveway is 6.1 meters is what we'd like to see it down to if it's to be approved. And that's all our comments.
Okay, thank you. We had another interested party, David Brendan.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, could you provide your name and address, please?
David Brendan, 65 Lakeview Drive.
Okay, and if you wanted to provide your comments to the committee.
So the application refers to a triplex, but it has 10 bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms, and walkouts from the basement of the 2 main floor units. And we suspect the true intent is more of a rooming house. The driveway of the current single unit can hold 3 cars end to end. But at times, this has not even been sufficient, as the visitors have been parking on the street and at times in front of the fire hydrant that's on the property. 3 parking spaces is insufficient for a dwelling with possibly 10 plus occupants, especially in our area. This is an isolated area north of the QEW, and according to walkscore.com, our neighborhood is listed as car dependent. Almost all errands require a car. As for the driveway design, we question the validity of the site plan, as the illustration shows 3 side-by-side parking spaces as existing, which is not the case. And also the fire hydrant on the front lawn is not shown in the design. The location of the 3 parking spaces in the design will require the rear of the vehicles to be flush with the road. If they don't pull up to the house, they'll be sticking out onto Lakeview Drive. Vehicles parked in a 3-car wide driveway will be parked primarily on the road allowance. Parking at the edge of the street is hazardous for pedestrians and cyclists. Lakeview Drive is a designated bike route. In addition, the city has not addressed the traffic jam that occurs on Lakeview Drive when the QEW Niagara bound is congested. This is a regular occurrence at evening rush hour, weekends, holidays. It is not due to any accident on the QEW. Lakeview Drive will have a backup of vehicles, including tour buses from the North Service Road intersection past Thomas Court. The increased parking of vehicles on the road will impact access of emergency vehicles and the safety of pedestrians. Already we have issues with parking on Lakeview Drive, particularly due to several short-term rentals on the street. Snow storage will also be an issue considering the landscaped area of the front yard has a fire hydrant in the center. According to Hamilton Fire Department, residents are to ensure a 1-meter clearance around fire hydrants and to clear a path from the street to the fire hydrant. We question how this application was even allowed to proceed to this stage. We hope that in the future, the city will safeguard our neighborhood from applications such as this one. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. And then next we have Douglas Paul. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you provide your name and address, please?
Douglas Paul, 41 Lakeview Drive.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the main concern I have is, again, with regards to parking. My understanding is a triplex requires 2 spots per unit, so 6 parking spaces. I'm not sure how a triplex application, and again, possibly it looks up to possibly 5 units, can get away with 3 parking spots. I'm concerned that a precedent might be set for other development on the street and a little bit further down from this, and certainly don't want this to lead to zoning modifications to allow multi-residential places that don't have sufficient parking on site.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I believe that was those were the interested parties we had for this application. Was there anyone else? Any other members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay, if not, then we can ask the applicant or the agent to step forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, can you provide your name and address, please?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Haroon Malik and I reside at 14 Torrance Wood, Brampton. Today I am representing the homeowner, Mr. Nisar, in support of the minor variance application number A250-020 for the 70 Lakeview Drive. So we are requesting actually the 3 variances. And the first variance is to permit the minimum setback from the rear lot line of 5.2 meter, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum of 7.5 meter. The second variance is a landscape area to permit a minimum 33.57 landscape area in front yard, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum 50%. The third variance is to permit a driveway width 66.53%. or 8.49 meter, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum 50% or 8 meters. To support the variance 1, this is an irregular shape of lot results in varying distance from 5.2 meter at the minimum point and 6.1 meter in the middle and 6.98 meter at the maximum point. Rationally, this variance is sought from the middle distance for 6.1 meter, which is closer to the compliance. And to support the variances number 2 and 3, these are necessary to avoid tandem parking, which is more stringent requirement under the City of Hamilton's zoning bylaw. Section 5.24C of the Hamilton zoning bylaw acknowledges that the tandem parking is not allowed for more than one dwelling unit. By widening the driveway, we eliminate the need of tandem parking, making the property more practical and user-friendly. Tandem parking can create logistical challenges to the residents, and such as block access and inconvenience. The wider driveway is a practical solution that meets the needs of the resident while aligning the broader intent of the zoning bylaw and preserving the sufficient landscape. Additionally, we can propose using a permeable driveway surface to allow water absorption and support sustainable drainage. We acknowledge the staff concerns regarding the variances and the recommendations to table the application for further discussion. We are open to collaborating with the staff to refine the design and address the neighborhood infill design guidelines. However, we firmly believe the variances requested are reasonable and necessary to achieve the vision of this property. Because we are within the limits of the zoning bylaw anyway. The triplex is allowed in this R1 zone, and the triplex itself needs only 3 parkings, like each one parking for one dwelling unit. So we are not deviating the requirement of the maximum number of parking requirements. So this project could be a win-win situation for the city and the community itself. Addresses the growing demand of the housing by providing quality homes for 3 families with a thoughtful design that ensures each unit has its above-grade main entrance from the front of the property, as well as some above-grade living space for all 3 units. So revitalizing a neglected property enhances the neighborhood. This is, by the way, this is a kind of a rundown property. Something goes come up anyway. Aligns with the local and provincial housing policies, contributing to broader housing goals. We urge committee to approve this application and support the transformation of 70 Lakeview Drive into a valuable community asset. And here I would like to answer these 2 things highlighted by the neighbors. That this fire hydrant is outside of the property, first of all, and we make this consideration that it should be at least more than 2 meters away from the proposed driveway. And yeah, I am happy to answer any questions committee members may have.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Does the committee have any questions? The recommendation from planning was to table. Do you have any questions, Robert?
To the staff, for this triplex as it's drawn up and submitted, what are the required parking spaces? How many?
Through the chair, I believe there's no variances for the parking, but 3 spaces are required. Yeah.
Okay. I think we should make a motion to table this, to sort out all the issues at hand. Like, just to make a point too, that the previous, one of the other comments, that the fire hydrant was on his property, and it's not. It's outside the property line. So that shouldn't come into play, along with the snow plowing around the fire hydrant and all that, because it is off the property. According to the drawing here, it is on, so.
Yeah, through Mr. Chair, we have submitted the recently done property survey, which clearly indicates that it's outside of the property.
So we have a motion to table, seconded by Mel. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Motion carried, application tabled.
Okay, and through the chair, our next application is a minor variance SC bracket A-24:48, 343 McNeely Road, Stony Creek. And I believe we do have an interested party. Wayne Clayton, are you here?
Wayne Clayton, 332 McNeely Road. This is the second time this property has been up. And once again, the application itself is fraudulent, misleading, incomplete, and is not minor in nature. Under 05200, minimum lot size is 4,000 square meters. This does not have 4,000 square meters. Under the Ontario Municipal Act, you cannot change a property's use from residential to industrial use unless that residential use has ceased, and then you have to go through a zoning application. You cannot conjure up some kind of a bylaw that says to facilitate. When you turn around and you take into consideration, the Ontario Municipal Act also says that residential properties trapped in the industrial zone are to be protected. 05200 does that. As a citizen participant to the creation of 05200 and an appellate, these are things that I fought for. This particular property creates the western side of a residential enclave of valuable brick dwellings consisting of raised ranches, 2 stories, bungalows on lots that are below 1 acre in size. You must acquire, in this case, at least 3 lots to make up 1 acre for this particular property. It is designed that way by the city. When I look at this, I find that items 1 through 6 on the first page are appalling and not worth anybody's time. When you look at item number 1, what does item number 1 allude to? Show me what it is matching against in 05200. What are you changing? Why are you hiding the reference that you want to alter? When you look up item 419 in the bylaw, you'll find that that refers to an M5 industrial zone, not an M3, not a residential zone, but an M5. Why in the world does anybody need to read any further than this, that this is just a shell game? My previous submission, I brought up that you're also putting a noxious use or next door to a residential dwelling. The City of Hamilton is already embroiled in a lawsuit. CN versus the City of Hamilton for an entire townhouse complex built across from the CN rail yard. And here you want to put trucks spewing diesel fumes, carrying thousands of liters of gas next door to another residence? That's ludicrous. If the people are doing their truck inspections properly before that truck leaves the yard, they're going to go out, they're going to start them up, they're going to sit there, and they're going to idle. And they're not going to idle for 2 minutes because there isn't a hope in anything of a city bylaw showing up to turn around and give them a ticket for idling over 2 minutes. They're going to sit there and they're going to spew diesel fumes into the bedroom windows of the property next door. quite frankly, I don't know why staff keep bringing this back. It should be turned down. It does not meet the criteria as set out in 05200. It does not meet the contractual agreement that the City of Hamilton acknowledged and signed with me through the Ontario Municipal Board arbitrator. There are so many holes in this whole application. Somebody is bending over backwards to accommodate something that should not be there. Now, the last time the committee was here, I had with me a stack of legal precedents in other jurisdictions where this sort of thing was taken to court and everybody lost except for the plaintiff. Well, I'm the plaintiff. I've also done some more digging around since then. And I've also found that this falls under the criminal code. Turn it down. It should not be on this property. Not in this location, not on that size of lot, not next, not in a residential enclave. Anything else would be repeating myself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Okay, and I don't believe we had any other registered interested parties, but I will ask, is there any other members of the public who wish to have comments on this application? Okay, and I don't believe so, and then if that is the case, I will ask the agent or applicant to come forward.
Yes, good afternoon. It's Mike Crow with Arcadis, registered professional planner. I'm the agent for the applicant and the owner.
Okay, go ahead.
So thanks very much. A couple of things I want to chat about, but maybe if I'll start I just want to respond to some of the comments that were raised by a member of the public. So first of all, characterize the application as fraudulent and misleading. That's not true. We disagree with that. It's been commissioned by a commissioner, and the information is accurate, and also this is an application that's been viewed by staff multiple times, so there's nothing there that's fraudulent or misleading. The zoning is in fact M3, which is Prestige Business Park, so that's the zoning that we're dealing with, and we're certainly not disputing that zoning. Well, 5200 is final and binding for this property. We note there's no variances for use or conversion before the committee, so I just wanted to go on the record with those items. Other than that, we mostly accept the staff report and comments. We've been at this a little while. There's just been some things on the applicant side that caused some delays. We were at the committee about a year ago, so we're back now, feeling pretty good about our direction. The one request we have for committee would be to approve all the variances as identified by zoning staff and as applied for. So that would include variance number 1 for the screening, which is not supported by staff. And if I may, I just want to share I would like to share my screen if that's possible. I just want to show our landscaping plan and just an image I have of the streetscape just to back up my point. Can I get permission for that, please?
Just a minute.
Your question again, sorry.
I just wanted to know if I could get permission to share my screen quickly, just to share a landscaping plan and a street view image.
Yep. Do you want to try now?
Sure. Perfect. Okay, just quickly, this is our landscaping plan, if you can see this. And the screening area in question really pertains to these two landscape areas that we have on our plan. So obviously there is landscaping there. It's not that we don't have any. There's a couple of points on either end where we stop. We don't have a full continuous landscaping screen all the way across. Over here, part of the reason is we have some servicing works and a catch basin, so we have a bare area there. Then obviously next to the proposed driveway, we have some visibility areas, and then we just don't peer it all the way through. We've tried to make best use of the landscape space that we have with some fairly continuous plantings, and then we've augmented that with some street trees. So it's not that we're not doing anything, it's just that we don't have, I think, a solid screen wall of either cedars or coniferous vegetation where you would completely block the view of these areas for all times of the year. I think our approach works. We're definitely not opposed to working with staff through the site plan still to try and look at some of these plantings. Certainly, if there's some discussion on materials or sizes or types, we can do all that through the site plan. So if we get the variance approved as requested, then we just have the flexibility to work with staff at the site plan stage, which we'd be doing anyways, right? We don't have the final approval. We have to work through that. And I think, we've done a good job here of trying to balance plantings between public and private and kind of match the streetscape. On that note, this is hopefully you can see this now as well. So this is the subject property. I'm just using Google Earth, so these are just street view images. But if you look right across the road, obviously we have a situation of some industrial development with what I would say is incomplete screening buffer there. So really our condition is going to be no different than what's already existing for this area. So in terms of a look and a feel argument and kind of matching what's expected or what's existing, this is what we have. This is our existing condition across the road. And I'll just go here a little bit further. So we're not proposing anything different necessarily. In fact, I think in some cases we have more. We get down here to the loading dock, there's obviously almost no screening there. So again, we just want the variance approved just to keep going forward as zoning have identified. This is what we require. We've got information with staff about what we're going to propose for the landscaping. I've shown that to committee. We're definitely going to do something. We can, work on some comments there with staff through the site plan. And if that variance were to be approved and the plans get implemented as we're proposing, or even with some minor modifications, we're certainly going to be no different than what's existing for this streetscape anyways. And I think all will be good. So that's my presentation, and be happy to answer any questions there may be.
Okay, thank you. To the committee. Robert?
Other than truck parking, what is the actual physical business on the property?
Through you to the chair, that is the business. That they are a truck. They are a trucking company, so that conversion of the dwelling is to an office use to support the business operations. It's a small scale office. Other than that, that's the main business.
So what you're saying is the trucks come in, they park, they hook up, pull out again. There's no offloading or sorting inventory, et cetera, et cetera?
No, sir. It's just strictly tractor trailer trucks, strictly for what I would call shuffling purposes, I guess, storage and moving on and to different locations.
Okay.
Well,
does the staff have any more report on that, or after you've heard what he said, whether you do change your position?
Through the chair, no, we're still against the approval of variance 1. Yeah.
Can I make a comment through the chair?
yes, Nick.
Couple comments here. So I'm looking at it here on Google, looking at also the site plan that was submitted. So it's zoned M3, so it is zoned industrial. And I want to say just because it was zoned that M3, that doesn't necessarily make it correct. There's a lot of green space there in between the houses and the other areas. There's also, other industrial looking uses here as far as I'm looking. And I'd say I'm about 50-50 on this one about whether it fails test 3, desirable uses. Again, 50-50. So those are just some general comments about this, and I'll leave that there.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Robert?
I think the only variable here is variance 1. And I'm in the opinion that it should be required for the shielding or block, whatever term you want to use on it. So I'd make a motion to deny 1 and approve 2 through 6. I think it's 2 through 6.
Okay.
Just to
Motion
make
on the
that
floor.
clear, by denying 1, which means they have to abide by the screening portion. Okay?
And sorry, that would still be with the proposed condition as well?
Correct.
Okay, is there a seconder? Donna? All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Seeing none. Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next application, it's a consent application, B-25:010, 20 Saverin Road, Glanbrook, but there's also an associated minor variance application, A-25:023, also for the same address, 20 Saverin Road, Glanbrook. So in this instance, both of them will be heard together because they're related to each other. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties for this matter, but is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this on these two applications? Seeing none, I will ask the agent or applicant to step forward, please.
Oh, it's on, thank you. Good afternoon, David Folletta with Bousfields. We're at 100 Main Street East in Hamilton.
Yes, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, and I have a short presentation. I emailed it earlier, but I don't know if it was received. I also brought a copy if it's helpful.
Yes, we do have it.
Great.
Let me just bring it up.
So while Mr. Leung is bringing that up, I'd just like to kind of bring you through a short presentation and then go through the staff comments and concerns, which I think outline what our concerns are with the application. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so again, my name is David Folletta, and I'm a registered professional planner with Bousfields, and we are the planning consultants to the Botello family. That's Brian and Laura, who are the owners of the home. Next slide, please. The subject site, this is basically an air photo of the subject site and the surrounding area. Just wanted to kind of show that it's within the urban boundary, surrounded by low-rise residential homes in low-rise configuration. There's a newer part of the subdivision to the east. If you've been to this neighborhood, you'll know it's along Mothers Street, and you'll see kind of the evolution of this neighborhood. So it originally started with larger lots like the subject site, and over time it has evolved into a more urban, compact built form that you'll see in newer subdivisions that are a little bit more narrow with reduced setbacks. Next slide, please. A little bit more about the site. So as we zoom into the site, it's on the west side of Saverin Road, north of Mothers Street. The site is generally 31.7 meters wide along Mothers Street and 45.7 meters long along Saverin Road. So in terms of lot depth, it's over 100 feet. It's about 106 feet. Again, large underutilized site within the urban boundary, and in our opinion, really ripe for infill intensification. In terms of the immediate surroundings as well, we know it's basically surrounded by low-rise, single detached residential homes. Next slide, please. The proposal is basically to take the existing lot and carve it into 4 lots for single detached residential dwellings. So again, urbanizing underdeveloped lands within the urban boundary with what we're considering to be a reasonable amount of infill. The big part of this is, Brian and Laura would like to build a new home for themselves, as well as, create lots for future homes for other families and to help them sort of pay for this sort of upgrade in their home. And this is part of their sort of growing family that they want to continue to live in this neighborhood. Next slide, please. The first application is obviously a severance application, and we're creating 3 new lots, so 4 lots in total. And they measure 10.7 meters for the lots 2, 3, and 4. Those are about 35 feet width. Lot 1 is about 45 feet. That's the corner lot, the one that Lauren and Brian would like to maintain for themselves. And then the lot areas are there for you as well as the lot depth at 31.7 meters. Next slide, please. In terms of the minor variance application, there are 5 variances that we're seeking, and these relate to a reduction in the minimum lot area, a reduction in the minimum lot width, a reduction in the side yard setback, as well as a reduction in the flankage or corner lot setback, as well as an increase in the maximum lot coverage. And what I'll say in terms of these applications, and if you go to the next slide, what we've done here for you is we've outlined what the requirements are and how we're varying them. So the red kind of shows the difference. And basically that difference is tied to the current zoning. So it's in the R2 zone, and that R2 zone is a large lot zoning. However, what we found is this neighborhood really does have a mix of lot sizes, and the more intense lot sizes do have a reduced setback in terms of side yard setback. The other thing that I'll note is within the current zoning, there are other uses that are permitted. So you could do street townhouses, for example, that are 6 meters wide and have obviously reduced side yard setbacks and reduced lot area requirements. That's part of the rationale for why we think we can rationalize these applications. In terms of, if we could move on to the next slide, we've done a fulsome analysis. I won't go through that for you today. I'd be happy to answer the question. I'd rather focus on some of the comments that we heard from staff. But in summary, the rationale for the application is that, in our opinion, the applications do meet the statutory test in 5124 of the Planning Act, meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan, general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. In our opinion, it is desirable and appropriate for the development. This is a pattern of development that's occurring across the city in some of these areas where these larger lots are being carved up into smaller lots. It's part of the intensification strategy that the city sees across the city. We also think it's minor in nature, and it's, like I said, a modest form of residential intensification. So those are the reasons why we think it's appropriate. I think the big issue that staff raised, and if we can go to the next slide, relates to the NEF contours. So what we've done is we've taken the NEF contours from the city's official plan and we've overlaid it on the site. And you'll see that there are 4 numbers there. There's 25 NEF, 28 NEF, 30 NEF, and 35 NEF. And what those numbers represent is a noise level that comes from the airport. And in this specific circumstance, the subject site falls between 28 and 30. And that's important, and we'll get to that in a moment when we talk about the policy framework. But what's also important is it's not the only site that falls within that contour. Most of that residential neighborhood does fall within that area, and it's already been intensified. And again, this is an existing low-rise residential neighborhood. Next slide, please. So staff correctly point out that policy C488 of the Urban Hamilton official plan notes that all new development of residential and other sensitive land uses, including infill development and redevelopment, shall be prohibited where we have a 28 NEF or greater. And as you recall on that map, we're between 28 and 30. In our opinion, the intent of this policy is to protect the airport from incompatible uses. That's the main intent of this policy, but it's also to protect sensitive land uses from airport noise. So that's the intent of that policy in our opinion. Next slide, please. So you're probably asking yourself, how does the proposal maintain the intent of this policy? There's a number of reasons. In our opinion, it maintains this policy. The city's official plan is more restrictive than the provincial planning statement, which is the policy that kind of applies across the province. And their threshold is that 30. So the 30 NEF is the threshold for protecting the airport as well as protecting sensitive land uses near the airport. Again, it's within a residential neighborhood today. And I think most importantly, it has as of right permissions. So Brian and Laura could tear down their house today and apply for a building permit to to build 4 or 5 street townhouses today. That would fully comply with zoning. They could do it today, and it's infill development at the same scale as what we're doing today. The only thing is they wouldn't be able to subdivide those and create new lots, but they could build them and they could rent them out today. That's something they can do as of right. So in our opinion, if the intent of the policy was to prohibit infill development like what we're proposing, this zoning wouldn't be allowed, and it wouldn't allow for the type of intensification that's currently permitted as of right. If you hit the next slide, I think staff correctly note there is an alternative here. And the alternative is that there's a condition, which we're fully supportive of, that would require the owner to investigate the noise level. So you have to do a noise study and implement those noise control measures. And what that does is that protects that sensitive land use from occurring. And what we've found in our experience that, within this residential neighborhood, typically it's a noise warning clause. They may need to upgrade their windows so that they could close it to create any noise issues. And I think that the key issue here is cost. So as an alternative, if you don't approve this application, if it were tabled, for example, I think staff would likely be supportive of tabling it and going through an official plan amendment application. So what we would go and do is we would go and file an official plan amendment application. It would be the application form. All that would be required would be the application, and I've already spoken to staff about this. All that would be required would be an application form as well as a noise study, okay? And what that would do is that would allow us to amend that one policy for this site on this site-specific basis. And unfortunately, the cost of that application is, it's $45,720. So there's a cost. It's really an administrative fee, and it's something that we could do today. Like we're doing the exact same form of infill development that's allowed to happen today. The only thing is the severance application triggers this non-conformity issue. So that is our main concern with staff. And I think staff correctly point out that it is a conformity issue, but we know that this committee has the authority to approve the severance subject to the condition, and we think that is an appropriate and reasonable response. Next slide, please. The other, subordinate issue that we also have, is the archaeological assessment. We recognize that it is an area that that has been kind of screened and meets criteria for an archaeological potential, but it's a developed site. So there's already been a foundation dug out on the site. There's been lots of disturbance of the site that has occurred for the driveway. They have areas that are planted. And again, what this is doing is adding costs to housing, not only for Laura and Brian, but also for future purchasers. So we would ask that instead of having an archaeological assessment be required, we would instead ask that an acknowledgement clause be applied to the approval. Everything else, we're fully supportive of the rest of the conditions. We think that they make sense, and those are our general submissions. And at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I think one last thing I would say is, if you're leaning towards denying it, which I hope you're not, I would ask that you instead table it to give us an opportunity to go through that expensive process, which again is $45,000. We think it's really an administrative process because of the built environment today. And then the last thing I'll say is that it also creates time, right? It's a 6-month process, and we know that the city does need new housing today. Those are my submissions. I'd be happy to answer any questions. One last thing I'll just note is that Brian is here with me, and if you do have any questions for the homeowner, he'd be happy to come and help.
Okay, to the committee. Questions? Robert?
On the site plan that was submitted, it shows the building envelope, but there's no other features showing it, AKA a driveway. Does it include a garage? We know parking is a hot topic these days. So is there a reason it wasn't included or hadn't got that far down the road?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, to the committee member. Yeah, we haven't gotten that far down the road. And again, we're not looking to vary any of the parking requirements. So we would fully comply with the zoning as it relates to everything other than the variances that we're applying for. So we're not applying for a parking variance. We've just identified that a house can fit on that site, and we've shown you generally what that envelope looks like. And as I mentioned before, Brian has started to put together a design for his home, and we know we fully comply with the zoning. And we also don't want to pre-design homes for future families that are going to purchase those lots.
No, it's just that, in my opinion, it'd be nice to have the driveway shown because you only have 6 meters of frontage. You put a driveway in there, your landscape percentage is going to decrease dramatically. So that's something I think that should be noted.
Yeah, through you, Chair, to the committee member. I want to say councillor, but I'm not saying councillor because I know you're a committee member. But yeah, there are lots of zones across the city that have 35-foot front lots, and we know we can comply with the zoning regulations as it relates to driveways as well as landscaping. I'll also note that, you could do street townhouses on here, which will have even narrower frontages with 6 meters, which is 20 feet, and then you'd have a 10-foot driveway as well as 10 feet for landscaping. So we know we can fully comply with those, and we'd be happy to provide any information. But again, we're not looking to vary any of those regulations.
Anyone else? No?
Yeah. Yes, I went to look at the spot near your lot where you want them there. And the lot frontage is what you were just talking about there. It would be half what it's supposed to be compared to what everybody else is around there. And I can't see putting 4 houses on that lot to make it look within reason what the area is. So if you were coming here to put 3 on, I'd be more pleased with it, but I can't see 4 houses going on that lot there in the corner. It's infeasible. I don't think it's feasible to do it, in my opinion anyway. So,
anyone else?
I would say my thoughts were similar, Mel. But then I looked, one street over, or even like the same street but a little bit further down, and I would say that there are probably some properties that are fairly similar to what's proposed. But I do agree, 3 would probably be a more acceptable number, and visually it would probably be more in line. My question, though, is for the city staff. So from my understanding, from what was presented, there is a way to go and do this through a different application, through different costs associated with it. Is there, a reason that, we're allowed to do it in one application, but it's being denied here because of the various different reasons, obviously with the noise, et cetera? Or is there more to it than that?
Question 2, Glenn.
Yeah, good afternoon. Spencer Skidmore, Area Planning Manager. So it's a good question. So the way we evaluate lot creation is that we have like a series of policies in Chapter F of the Urban Hamilton Official Plan. And when you create new lots, the test is it has to conform to the official plan. It's very black and white. There's not much, it's not like a variance where it has to meet the general intent. When you're talking lot creation, it has to conform. And we have policies within the Urban Hamilton official plan when we developed it in accordance in partnership with the airport that resulted in those NEF contours. And the policy is very clear that residential development, new residential development, including infill, shall be prohibited. So when we make a recommendation from a lot creation perspective, it has to conform to that policy, hence the recommendation for denial. The route that the applicant had mentioned would be actually going in, it's a different process, and it has to be approved by council, going in and actually amending that policy to give this specific property an exception. And that would have to be supported by, yes, studies such as technical studies, such as a noise study, but potentially other ones. We would flag that through kind of the pre-screening process, and definitely a plan justification report to provide planning rationale. But that's kind of the difference in the process, is that staff, we don't really have any leeway in terms of our analysis under the lot creation policies. It has to conform to that noise exposure forecast, or NEF contour. So that's why you have the denial before you today in terms of recommendation from staff. But there is that official plan amendment route that we could explore should you choose to table it. So hopefully that provides some clarity on your question there.
Okay. Anyone else? Mel?
After hearing what the staff has just said, I'll make a motion to table this so you can get this straightened out, because I think there's so many things here that have to be put down on paper to be, so you can go ahead. So I'll make a motion to table.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table, seconded by Sebastian. All in favor of table? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried, application is tabled.
And yes, just to confirm, that was for both applications, right? The consent and minor variance applications are being tabled. Okay. Next is, we have a minor variance application, A-25:031, 97 Dartnell Road, Hamilton. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties, but I will ask, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, I will ask the agent or applicant, please step forward.
Hello, committee. My name is Liam Doherty. I'm a registered professional planner with AJ Clark & Associates, and I'm representing the owner and applicant.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I have.
Okay. Did you have any questions on them?
I do not. We
Does the committee have any questions?
I'll file a motion to approve the variances with proposed conditions.
Okay, seconded by Robert. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a minor variance application, A-25:024, 420 Red Oak Avenue, Stony Creek. And I believe we have an interested party, Tony Yokana. Are you there? I believe I saw Tony there. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I am here, yeah.
Okay, could you provide your name and address, please?
Tony Yokana, 418 Red Oak Avenue.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. With the two-story townhouses, they're going to be built in 3 of them. I just have a concern about overshadowing my property, which is a raised bungalow. As of right now, that's my only concern, and I just need a clarification for that, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Was there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the applicant or the agent to step forward, please.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Please state your name.
Yes, I'm Mackenzie Ferrant. I'm a planner and designer at AJ Clark & Associates, here representing the applicant and owner.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did.
Okay. Did you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. You care to answer the question from the citizen that spoke just before you?
Yeah, of course. Through the chair, with this application, all of the townhouses will be meeting the maximum building height under the R1 zone in bylaw number 05200, coming in about 10 meters. And we will also be maintaining all of the required setbacks, so we do not foresee any overview or overshadowing being an issue at this time.
Okay, thanks. Committee members, any questions? Robert?
Make a motion to approve with the notes included.
Okay, motion made by Robert. Is there a seconder? Donna? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a consent application. It is B-25 :009-879 West 5th Street, Hamilton. And I believe we have an interested party, Richard Smith. Are you there? Richard Smith, are you here? Okay. I don't believe he's here then. Was there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Okay. Seeing none, then I will request the applicant or agent, please step forward.
Good afternoon, committee. James Thomas, AJ Clark & Associates, 25 Main Street West, Suite 300.
Yes, welcome to our meeting. Welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, we did.
And do you have any questions?
No, we are in support of staff's approval of that. I do just want to go over some of the conditions that have been outlined. You may or may not recall, 6 months almost exactly, we were here to hear 885 West 5th, which is the south adjacent property. That one was approved with the minor variances included and had a total of 12 conditions with approval on that one. This proposed list of conditions, number 17 conditions, quite substantially different in comments for the same context of project. Apologies. For the same project and exactly what we're doing. So we're facilitating a severance for future medium density development along West 5th, retaining the existing dwelling and conditions there, providing a road widening to the city, and then in the rear, we're creating 2 parcels for single detached low density residential development. They will be in line with the zoning bylaw that is set along Fortissimo Drive. And with a future minor variance application, once we get a full existing conditions survey done, we can locate the exact location of the most rear wall to our proposed setback, and we can set the minor variances for the lot dimensions, lot widths, and setbacks for those as they are proposed. You'll note they are essentially the exact same thing as what was approved to the south adjacent. So with that, I would like to request that conditions 4, 8, 10, and 11 be removed to be consistent with the decision that was previously made. I also just want to point out that condition 12 is a little bit unnecessary and duplicates the minor variance application that was heard for the adjacent lands. I think there just might have been some confusion in copying that one over. So condition 12 would be addressed through condition 7, where we are to receive final approval of the appropriate Planning Act applications to address any zoning nonconformities. So that would be the future minor variance. So condition 12, I don't think is an issue there to remove. Through correspondence with engineering and some of the legal staff, we did confirm that condition 17 is already cleared. The owners of the land, Richard Smith, who was the party that was listed, purchased these lands in 2023 from the city, and at that point they paid all those charges that were due. So we do have confirmation from Rahul Patel earlier this week confirming that those charges are done. So I think that condition can be cleared as well. If there are any questions about which conditions are being removed, I'm happy to answer anything for the application.
Okay. Committee, any questions? Do you want to run through that list again, the ones you want omitted?
Yeah, so condition 4 comes from forestry, and that's because there was an understanding that the sliver of lands along Fortissimo were still city-owned property. However, that information was outdated. As I said, our client has purchased those lands, is the legal owner of those lands where those municipal tree assets are described to be located. So that matter has been resolved with Lindsay and Forestry earlier this afternoon. Just to clear that up, that my client owns that sliver of land, not the city. Those trees would be a private ownership. So that would be condition 4, which is a newer one. Condition 8 speaks to the noise study required. We are the last 4 lots being filled in along Fortissimo. We will be in line with the built form and existing development as it is. What you have on West 5th will exist and remain. So you have trees, you have an existing dwelling that spans almost the entire width of that lot along West 5th, and then you'll have a future fence before hitting our yard. So I think the purpose and intent of the noise study would be to ensure that we meet those guidelines. And really it's just going to typically speak to providing OBC requirements and perhaps HVAC. That's typically what we've seen. Condition 10 and 11 are the TPP landscape plan from Natural Heritage. You'll note that these lands are within the former City of Hamilton boundaries. There are no private tree protection bylaws on these lands, and the client is able to amend that as they need. In condition 17, I already explained, is that the charges have already been paid. And condition 12 was just the fact that we received approval of the minor variance for the application to the south. So it's just an incorrect typo.
Okay, thanks. Committee members. Questions?
Yeah, I have one for city staff. Based off of the ask of the applicant, are we comfortable removing these conditions from the application?
Through the chair to the committee member, I can confirm that condition 12 is, as it's written, it's referring to the minor variance associated with the severance to the south, and it would be redundant with condition 13, I believe it was. And regarding condition 4, if that has been cleared with forestry staff that they are not public assets, they're private trees, then I can't really speak for forestry staff, so I'd have to take that at face value at the moment. And regarding the 2 conditions for the tree protection plan and landscape plan from Natural Heritage staff, while the property is not subject to a tree bylaw at the moment, such as would be in Ancaster, the policies in the official plan do still call for the preservation and enhancement of things like urban forestry canopy and other things along those lines. So I don't believe staff would be supportive of removing those conditions. And similar for condition 8 regarding the noise study, the language of the policy is rather clear within certain 100 meters for minor arterial roads, 400 meters for major arterial roads, and also from things such as the Lincoln and Alexander Parkway. If it's within a certain distance, sensitive noise or sensitive land uses could be negatively affected by noise sources such as those roads or noise traffic. And staff would stand by the recommendation to include the noise study.
Anyone else? Donna?
I'm going to put a proposal ahead and accept the application with the removal of 11, 12, and 17. Conditions 11, 12, and 17. Oh, and 4 because but it's been resolved, so yeah.
If I may, condition 10 and 11 are pretty much intertwined with one another. With tree protection bylaws, or sorry, tree protection plans and the landscape plan, it would essentially be on the same phase plan.
So he just said, yeah.
Okay.
I think. Okay, sorry. Then, yeah, so then I'll put 10 and 11 together. And so remove number 4, 12, and 17.
Okay, that's your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay.
Sorry, was it also condition 10 and 11 as well?
Pardon?
Was it 10 and 11 as well? Or
No, keep it 8, 10, and 11.
Okay.
Okay, is there a seconder for that motion? Sebastian? All in favor of that motion? Opposed? 2 opposed, 3, 4. Motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, just to confirm, that was to approve it with the removing conditions 12, 17, and 4. Yeah, okay. We're actually just running a little bit behind schedule, but we are supposed to have a scheduled break at this time. So maybe we could take a 15-minute break, and we should come back around.
Sebastian?
We can do less, maybe 10 minutes instead. It's just because we're running behind a little.
Okay, that's okay with the
10
members. Yeah,
break?
10 minutes then. So around 2:57, yeah, just before 3 p.m. Yeah, if you could all return. Okay, so we'll just take a brief break now. Thank you. Everyone, I think all the members are back. So we're resuming the hearing now at 2:58 p.m. And we have a consent application. It is B-25:013-354-360 King Street West, Hamilton. And we do have transportation planning staff. They wish to speak first. Are you there, Bart Rousseau?
Yes, I am. The condition for the proposed road widening, it was previously approved through an OLT application, so we'll remove that comment. That condition, I mean.
Okay, so condition 4 can be removed. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I don't believe we have any other registered interested parties. Was there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the applicant or agent to please step forward.
Sure. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Ryan Ferrari. I'm a registered professional planner with AJ Clark & Associates. I'm also the agent on this application.
Welcome to our meeting, Ryan. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I have. So fully in support of the staff recommendation to approve this consent application. Also want to thank staff for removing condition number 4, which at this point is redundant because the building's already built. We've already dedicated road widening to the city of Hamilton. So keeping my comments brief, I just ask that the committee approve the consent application, striking out condition number 4 as per staff's recommendation. And yeah, if there are any questions regarding the proposal, I'm certainly happy to answer them. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone on the committee with questions? Robert?
Make a motion to approve the application with conditions 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Okay, is there a seconder? Donna? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, moving on, we have a minor variance application, 8-25:028, 60 Beulah Avenue, Hamilton. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties here. However, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I will ask the applicant or agent, please step forward.
Yes. Joe Doan, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Yes, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, after reading staff comments, the drawings have been revised to remove the proposed front driveway in favor of soft landscaping in its place, and to revise the rear driveway to be constructed with permeable materials. Therefore, we would request to amend the application to eliminate variances 1, 5, and 6. I've sent the revised drawings to committee and city staff. Planning staff had the chance to review the changes, and they've responded they are supportive of the revised proposal. So the proposal is now requesting variances 2, 3, and 4, which relate to the rear of the property. Variances number 2 and 3 refer to the proposed 60 square meter rear accessory building area and a 75 square meter lot coverage area for a rear detached garage and attached cabana. This includes an interior washroom and a covered outdoor wet bar. The width of the rear half of the property makes this lot unique in the immediate context. These variances are mitigated by the fact that no height or setback variances are required. The setback to the north side lot line is 1.2 meters. To the south side lot line is able to provide a 7.84 meter setback and a 6 meter setback to the lane. There is an existing rear shed that would also be removed. And also approximately 180 meters to the northwest, one street over, 460 Dundurn Street South, has a similar lot configuration with a rear detached garage that is similar in size to the proposal. I believe it's 58.5 square meters. As referenced in the planning staff report, the accessory building will remain subordinate in scale, character, and role to the dwelling, and development engineering are satisfied in regards to drainage. Variance number 4 refers to the proposed rear driveway width of 6.1 meters, or 70% of the lot width measured at the front of the property. As I mentioned before, the rear half of the property is wider and is almost twice the width compared to the width at the front. So at the rear, it's 15.24 meters, and at the front, it's 8.84 meters. So in this case, the driveway width would comply with the bylaw if the rear lot width were considered in the measurement, in the bylaw measurement, instead of the lot width measured at the front, and would have no negative impacts to the street. The owner has spoken to a number of the surrounding neighbors. I believe there were no concerns for the application. Overall, we feel the application as revised is reasonable and minor in nature, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Just to concur with the planning, you're okay with the removal of the 3 variances?
Through the chair to the committee, we did have a chance to review the revised drawings that were provided to development planning staff as well. They do essentially address the concerns of variances 1, 5, and 6, and staff are satisfied.
Okay, thank you. Committee?
I'd like to put forth a motion to approve variances 2 to 4 and then deny variances 1, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Oh, apologies. Did you mean variances 2, 3, and 4? Yeah. Oh.
I said 2 to 4. So sorry, yeah, I did mean 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, is there a seconder? Nick, all in favor? Opposed? 3 opposed. Motion is defeated.
I guess to clarify, if we deny the variances 1, 5, and 6, we're doing what the applicant is asking us to do. We wouldn't need to remove them from the statement. We're going to follow the bylaw, how it's written. So by denying that, we would essentially enforce them to follow the bylaw. So I guess I'm questioning why it was opposed.
Sorry, can I clarify through the chair?
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Sorry, was my vote counted as a denial or in favor?
In favor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my question is denying it, or are we removing those conditions or those variances?
It would act the exact same way, right? Like either way, the bylaw is enforced. Whether we deny it or whether we're saying we're removing it from the application, it's the exact same outcome.
So the request from the agent was to remove those variances, right?
Yeah.
So and essentially it means the same thing.
No.
So essentially if a motion was made.
I'm going to get from staff. Can staff confirm that one way or the other if we deny it or remove it, which is proper?
To the chair, to the committee member, I couldn't address which one's more proper per se, but I could tell you, I can confirm that if the variance isn't approved, say variances 1, 5, and 6, whether they're removed from consideration or if they're just denied, as the other committee member did mention, they are effectively the same outcome. They would be approved for variances 2, 3, and 4 as staff recommend and as the applicant has requested, and they would be made to comply with the other provisions regarding the landscaping, permeable pavers, and no second driveway in the front.
Okay,
Before
we
have any motion?
Before we go to that, what is the setback on the rear property line for that garage?
To the chair, to the committee member, the required setback would be, I believe, 6 meters from maneuvering space, but if it was just a shed or some other accessory structure, it would just be 1.2 meters to the rear lot line.
Because the way I'm looking at the site plan that was submitted right now, the exterior garage is right on the property line. And having grown up in an area that has an alley that led to a garage, it was a pain being so narrow without the setback. I'm just wondering what the policy is or what the bylaw is on that.
Through the chair, Jennifer Caterino, Area Planning Manager for the West Development Team. Just looking at the site plan that was submitted with the application, the proposed detached garage with cabana at the rear of the property is proposed to be a minimum of 1.2 meters from the side lot line. And it is also proposed to be 5.8 meters from the rear, connecting to the alleyway at the back.
Then I'd have a problem with this because I don't see that much of a setback.
Right here.
No.
The agent, did you have a question or comment?
I just wanted to clarify that setback from the rear lot line, 5.8 meters.
Okay.
Okay.
I just got corrected.
Okay.
And through the chair, I just wanted to clarify our processes. Was it the agent was indicating, is it those 3 variances he's indicating, is it to withdraw those variances now? Was that what he was indicating? I just wanted a clarification on
Sorry,
that.
variances 1, 5, and 6?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, so just, letting the committee know that the agent is requesting to remove those conditions. So he's only now requesting the balance of the remaining 3 variances. Thank you.
I mean, we'd be okay with any option committee would consider, whether it's removal or denial of the variances 1, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Okay,
Does
Donna?
that mean that I can change my vote?
Need a new motion.
Or do we need, it's not firm, the
Through the
motion
chair,
is
there
not
would have to
firm?
be, since the previous motion was defeated, we would have to, there had to be a new motion put out, put forth.
So
If the denial or removal is the same, so then that motion, do we have to, can I make a new motion to say
Yes.
Removal instead of deny?
yes.
Okay, so I'll put a motion forward to accept the application, accept variances 2, 3, and 4 with the removal of 1, 5, and 6.
Okay. Is there a seconder for that motion? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next application is a minor variance application. It is A-25:030 for Turner Avenue, Hamilton. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties. However, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Please step forward.
Got one.
And please provide your name and your address, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Matt Fisher, and I live at 2 Turner Avenue. I live directly next to 4 Turner Avenue, and I purchased my home from the same builder that's applying for these variances. When I moved in, the builder had just completed the severance to the lot next door, and as well, they finalized the grading and drainage work on my property. At this time, I trusted the work was done properly based on a reasonable expectation that it would be what would be built beside me. But what is being proposed now is not reasonable. It's a 4,278 square foot home, nearly 1 square foot of house for every square foot of lot, crammed into a parcel that is 37% smaller than what zoning requires. They are asking for a 33% reduction in lot width, a 16% increase in the building height, and 34% more lot coverage, and side yard setbacks that are reduced by nearly half. This isn't a minor variance, this is a major departure from the planning principles that shape this and many neighborhoods across the city. This also isn't an unforeseen situation, it's deliberate. The same builder who sold me my home, who created this smaller lot, is now seeking exemptions to maximize buildability beyond what zoning allows. They knew the lot was tight, they created it, and now they want to bend the rules to suit the structure they designed, one that already was flagged by the city during permitting as non-compliant. I'm especially concerned about drainage. Turner Avenue is a sloped street. Any overbuilding, especially with reduced setbacks and increased lot coverage, increases the risk of stormwater runoff affecting neighborhood properties. Grading and drainage plan on my property never accounted for the scale of this construction. It was completed before this overbuild was even proposed by the same builder. If water starts pooling and draining towards my home, who's accountable? The builder also argues that this build fits the area, but this just isn't any street. Turner Avenue is a part of Hamilton's Durand established historical neighborhood, lined with century homes, several of which are on the Municipal Heritage Register. Even if the home technically complies with certain design elements, the overall footprint, scale, and density break from the character of the street, and it sets a dangerous precedent. Yes, Hamilton supports intensification, and I do too. But intensification must be done responsibly, in a way that respects and reinforces the surrounding built form. This proposal does the opposite. It chips away at the integrity of an established architectural significant block of the city. And approving it would send a message. It tells future builders that they can push the limits, then return later expecting this committee to legitimize their overreach. I urge the committee to deny this application, not just to protect my home, but to protect the long-term character and balance of this neighborhood. So just to summarize, the variances requested are not minor. They're significant, exceeding zoning allowances in almost every dimension. The situation was created by the builder, who now seeks to expand and beyond and go beyond what they originally received approval for. The grading and drainage plan for my home was completed by the same builder and never accounted for the overbuilding next door. Turner Avenue is a sloped street. Overbuilding puts adjacent homes at risk of water-related issues, and the property sits in a historical neighborhood surrounded by century homes and cultural heritage properties. This proposal would set harmful precedent for future severances and overbuilds in the area. And intensification is important, but only when it respects existing neighborhood character. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Was there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, then I will ask the agent or applicant to step forward.
Good afternoon, members of committee. My name is David Mackay. I'm a registered professional planner with the MHBC representing the applicant.
Yes, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, sir. And we are supportive of the staff recommendation for approval. With regards to this proposal, as committee will read through the history on this, this building was approved by the committee in 2022. So what the adjacent neighbor has just told you, that this was never contemplated, is completely false. This building, exactly as it's designed, was approved by committee in 2022. The issue, as committee may know, is that after this approval, the new bylaw came into force and effect. Through the building design review of the building permit, staff interpreted this building to be a 3-story building versus 2.5 as approved previously by committee. It's an interpretation by the building department. Because of the way the Planning Act works, one cannot vary variances, one, and two, we cannot rely upon 2 bylaws affecting the same property. So we can't rely on the previous variances that were approved and seek a variance for height to recognize the existing situation. We have to apply for brand new variances under the new bylaw, and that is exactly what we've done. The building design, the layout, the setbacks, everything that was approved previously by committee is exactly the same. It's just we're applying it under the new bylaw. And so with all due respect to the adjacent neighbor, I completely disagree with his commentary with regards that this was never contemplated. And in fact, it was, and that is recognized by the staff report, which also confirms that we've gone through an extensive process with the heritage staff to provide for a design of a building that is complementary to the Heritage Conservation District. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that committee may have. Thank you.
Okay, to the committee. Robert?
Given the information on the history, as to going back to 2022, I'd like to make a motion to approve it, the application as submitted.
Okay, is there a seconder? Mel? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Moving on, we have a minor variance application A-25:022, 128 Cannon Street West, Hamilton. And I believe we do have a registered interested party. Dario Pacini, are you there? Okay. Please provide your name and address.
Hello, my name is Larry Romanovich.
Oh, no, I was asking for the, we have an interested party. Dario Pacini. Okay. Okay, I don't believe they're here then. Okay, was there any other members of the public who want to speak on this application? Okay. Okay, seeing none, then I'll ask the applicant or agent to step forward. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Larry Romanovich, and we're seeking a variance for the rear yard setback to be at 2.6 meters.
Okay, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Did I have a chance to read what?
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I'm very hard of hearing.
Okay. The comments from planning, did you have a chance to read them?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. And they are, this is Cannon Street West, right? Cannon Street West?
That's correct.
Yes, so.
We actually, actually talked to planning before we even put in the application. And they said that they'd probably support a 2.6 meter rear yard setback. And that's the only reason why we applied for it.
Okay, I'm just trying to, so from the planning department, at the top of their comments, they're recommending denial.
Can the planning give you a answer to that? Good with any questions?
Through the chair to the committee member, I can't say who the applicant spoke with, to be truthful. It wasn't myself. What I can go over is, in brief, our comments are that the proposal doesn't meet either what is permitted in terms of uses on the zone or on the official plan designation within the setting. And also being a 15 dwelling units with a commercial space, it would be also subject to site plan control. And no application that I am aware of has been submitted for the proposal. So this is more complicated than just a rear yard setback essentially, and staff can't recommend approval because it doesn't meet the 4 tests.
Did you understand that, sir?
It's very hard for me to even hear what he said, but we're actually improving, if he's saying it's not good, we're actually improving the situation because the existing foundations go right, there is no rear yard setback with the existing house right now. It goes right back to the property line. So it's got a bigger footprint than what we are actually proposing right now.
Sebastian?
Yes. What's the intended use of the property?
Well, we talked to planning and they said it conforms commercial, residential and commercial.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying, you know, I'm reading here that you're going to build 15 units, like a 15-unit property. Is that correct? Is it going to be for housing? Is it like rental units? What's going to be the use?
Rental units for basically students.
Okay. And then my question here is for city staff. My understanding, and it doesn't have to be yeah. So my understanding is that there's just missing information, and the application as submitted, we wouldn't be able to move forward with it due to the complexity that of the change, and then obviously missing all that information. Is that correct?
So through the chair, there is missing information, but I think there is a fundamental disagreement as to what's permitted in the zoning. So based on notes provided by our zoning group, the proposed use of a 4-story mixed-use building at this particular location containing 15 residential dwelling units is not considered a permitted use in the zone. So as my colleague David mentioned, when we're assessing the 4 tests of a minor variance, it's hard for us to say that the proposal meets the intent of the zoning bylaw when the use already isn't permitted as per the interpretation of our colleagues in zoning. So additional information would be required, and staff would be open to meeting with the applicant to discuss the proposal so that maybe it can be revised to reflect something that's permitted in the current zone and something that achieves the goals of the setting sail secondary plan. Anything else here for questions?
Okay. No, I was just going to ask if there was a path forward, and that answers that. Okay, I'll just pause there.
Bob?
So given the information from staff.
If you can, Bob, if you can speak louder so the gentleman can hear, sorry.
Yeah, because of the details of the application and the restrictions with the property zoning and everything that the planning department said, that I'd recommend that we table this, put a pause on it, and let the applicant come back and sit down with the planning department and sort out what can or can't be done. Okay?
Other words, provide, like she said, more information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all, but like I say, we did talk to the planning department for the zoning the area and made sure we conform to that. And then when we sat down with the planner himself, I happened to see a picture of him up there earlier today, who said, we asked him what kind of, would they support a 2.6 meter or a smaller variance? He said, no, at least 2.6. And I'm sure that he's familiar with the zoning bylaws and that in the area also.
But the thing is, what you're asking to do is not a permitted use. The 2.6 is fine. It's there, it's on your drawing, but it's beyond that. And that's where you need to sit down with them again.
Okay.
Give them the exact details of what you want, what you're going to do, the elevations, all the setbacks, and then submit again. With tabling it, that just postpones it, or the alternative is we could deny it, and then you have to start from scratch, and I don't want to do that. I just want to table it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
So how long would the process be before we could sit down with your members?
Well, you'd have to discuss that with them. Okay?
Would I talk to them after this meeting or talk to them?
I would give them a date.
Yeah, through the chair, we can, if the application is tabled, we'll be in contact with the applicant on next steps.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Bob?
Motion, table?
Okay, seconder? Donna? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application tabled. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Next, we have a consent application, B-25:012, 115 Chesley Street, Hamilton. I believe we do have a registered interested party. It is, and I apologize if I mispronounced the name, Ali Adogan. Are you there? Are you here? Okay, I don't believe they're here. Is there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the owner or agent to step forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and fellow committee members. My name is Dino Scalia. I'm the owner of 115 Chesley Street. I'm a licensed builder under New Royal Homes.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did, and I got to communicate with the neighbors. The person, Ali, that we were referring to, or was going to be present here, but he had some confusion on what was being built. He thought it was going to be like a rental unit. So I explained to him that it's going to be 2 single-family homes, fully detached, and also the other neighbor to the right at 119, Mrs. Batista, and we confirmed that we're building 2 single-family homes. They thought we were doing semi-detached.
Okay. Did you have any questions with the conditions or anything on the?
Just condition 5, several years ago, the road was being restored, so we had communicated with the city that we paid for new sanitary storm and a water box for the newly created lot. And actually, recently, the city was just out there and they checked the water boxes and they're all good to go. So I'm just asking for that to be removed because it's already been done and paid for.
Okay. So you want 5 removed, or I mean, if that work has already been done, you just have to prove it to them that it's done. And
yeah, just okay. Sometimes I ask for deposits and everything, so.
Okay, committee, any questions? Mel?
Yes, we're strictly only dealing here with the severances and the conditions that are put on here. I'll make a motion to approve with condition 5 removed if the city is notified of it, and go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a seconder? Bob, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. Okay, moving on, we have a minor variance application, A-24:258, 476 Book Road East, Ancaster. There's someone there that needs this. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties. However, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the agent or applicant to step forward, please. Oh, you're muted. You unmute yourself, please. See if I can help you.
There we go. I got it.
Oh,
sorry.
You got it?
Yes. Sorry, I'm Sherry Crawford. I'm the agent.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, yes. And I would like to just comment on that.
Go ahead.
We would like to ask the committee to consider removing the condition for a noise study. I do want to, this has been tabled and we've come back to committee. This is our third time. We actually had approval for an art studio in the exact same location on this property last year with no noise study. And then we came back to committee because we asked for an ADU and we had to work with the planning committee in order to, our planning department in order to reduce the size of the property. And we've conformed to all of the items that they've asked for, and now they've asked for a noise study. So we're just asking that the committee consider removing that from the condition and approve the application.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions? Well?
Yeah, this was to us before, and I think we tabled it, and I was glad to see it come back. I don't know whether we can say with the noise thing can be, if required or not. Can that be put in? No. I'm going to move the application with the conditions, all conditions included.
Is that a question directed to?
No, I'm making a motion to approve it. Conditions.
Okay. That's a motion.
That's with the condition 1 staying. Yeah. Okay.
Is that second, Bob?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed? Motion carried, application approved.
Okay. Moving forward, we have, moving on, we have a minor variance application, A-25:025, 856 Concession 5 West, Flamborough. I don't believe we have any registered interested parties for this application. However, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the agent or applicant to please step forward.
Hi.
Yes, please state your name.
Yeah, Sarah Butler.
Okay. And are you the...
Oh, sorry, owner. Yes.
The owner? Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome to our meeting. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, yes.
And I'm sure you have some questions.
Yeah, honestly new to this. I actually was on the meeting the entire time and have learned ample information about how this process works, which is very helpful. One thing I noticed is that they had recommended to table in regards to development planning. And, you know, we have done significant development planning, which is why our idea was to put it where we had asked to put it. So I just, you know, basically other than that, like, you know, the archaeological finds, like all of the other stuff, like we'll adhere to building codes we're going to adhere to. It's just, it makes sense to put it where it is going to go. The plan is to do a floating slab, which is maximum 6 inches. So, you know, we're not really going down deep at all.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or concerns?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the conservation was with us. They had absolutely no issue with us building there. So in terms of drainage and things like that, we're going to adhere to all of that, and we're actually not even making any differences in the drainage. All of the contractors and everybody else are going to be using the already existing in-place driveway. And the parking pad's 80 feet by 100 feet, and the pole barn's going to be built on that parking pad. So we're not touching anything in terms of, agricultural, anything. We're sticking to a gravel pad, essentially, where the A2 zone, we would have to then, do a bit more damage, if you will, to the lands to construct this.
Okay. Committee? Donna?
Yes, have you noticed that they're requesting to table it in regards to the size of the accessory structure? It says it can't be larger than the main building.
So it's not larger than the existing dwelling?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not larger than the existing dwelling.
Okay.
I was just going to ask the staff just to clarify, because there is some ambiguity there around like why we're requesting the tabling. Like what revisions would we be looking to make?
Through the chair to the committee members, to clarify, staff's main concern and also, development planning staff's main concern and also natural heritage staff's main concern is the location of the proposed building within the P7 zone and its proximity to the natural heritage features and core areas that natural heritage staff outlined in their comments as well. Staff could be supportive of the size variances. Our main concern relates to the location.
So is that, sorry, Sebastian, is that the main reason for tabling, so that you can discuss with them the changing location?
That would be correct.
Okay, thanks.
So in terms of, I guess, changing the location, it's just, and it's honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, it's something that we can build it on that A2, but we're trying to do this. I mean, we're very, very environmentally friendly people. Our plan is for bees and to do pollination of bees. I mean, we've got quarries around us, racetracks around us. We're literally dead center to 2 quarries, a racetrack, building across the road. It's 20 acres, has 11 outbuildings. We're trying to do something better. We've done numerous amount of lot cleanup because the old owners were using this honestly as a dumping yard on the P7. We're working with conservation, with Jeff Stock, Jeff Tweedle, to revitalize the lands. And, everyone is in that side of things seems to be in favor of the pole barn being constructed where it is, because we're doing much less damage to the ecosystem.
I'll just say that, we appreciate all the work that you're doing. Obviously, you care about the environment and the situation. But just based off of some of the concerns that are raised by the city, I think having additional conversations with them, you can likely build that confidence with them that maybe you're making the right decision, or we can find an alternative that is also suitable for yourself and the city. And with that being said, I think I'm going to move forward with filing a motion to, or moving a motion to table the application.
Robert, you second? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, so application is tabled. So I guess if you can meet with planning again and see if you can, if it has to be moved to another location, or if you can prove to them that that location is not hazardous to the area.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward, we have a minor variance application A-25:027, 39 Trailbanks Gardens, Flamborough. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties. However, is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay, seeing none, I will ask the agent or applicant to please step forward. The owner is S. Khanna, and the applicant is Siobhan Tarika. Are you here? Okay, through the chair, it appears the applicant or agent is not in attendance. So I don't know if we can proceed with the application then, if they're not here.
Donna?
I'll make a motion to table the application.
Okay, motion to table, seconder. Mel, all in favor? Opposed, seeing none, motion carried, application tabled.
Thank you, and through the chair, we will contact the applicant and our agent after the hearing, just to speak with them, just to see what's going on here. Okay. Next, we have a minor variance application. It's A-25:029, 105 Kineski Drive, Flamborough. And I don't believe we have any registered interested parties. Is there any members of the public who wish to speak on this application? Okay. Seeing none, is the applicant or agent here? And the applicant is S. Tarika, and the owner is S. Rachura. There's someone? Okay. It appears here the agent and our applicant is not in attendance, so I don't know if we can proceed with the application.
The motion forward to table the application.
Okay, motion for table. Is there a seconder? Nick, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, application tabled.
And again, through the chair, we will reach out to the agent and our applicant just to see what happened here. And I believe that concludes the applications to be heard as part of this Committee of Adjustment hearing.
Motion for adjournment. Mel, is there a seconder? Donna? All in favor, of course. Motion carried, application approved.
Yes, and the hearing is adjourned at 3:46 p.m. Thank you.